Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talks on Tuesday. I'm Chelsea, and I'm here with Barbara, Mary, and Julie, and we take turns hosting every Tuesday at noon, Boise, Idaho time. And then we post on Facebook, and we have Anka and Renee with us today, and we probably will have a few more pop in, I hope. Gordy is in not at work today, so he's just listening from the other room, so we don't really see his screen. But I wanted to share a personal story, and I always admire the way Barbara shares a personal story. And Mary, you're good at it too. And I'm going to attempt. And I feel a little nervous because I don't want to impede on someone's privacy, but I think I'm going to be okay. But throughout the week, it seems there's been a theme for me about thinking about surrendering to our experience. I think we kind of touched on it on Solomon, and but I house sit for dogs, and I did that over the weekend, 2 full days and one overnight, and um I, it's something I do quite often, and I really enjoy being with dogs. But everybody that I come in contact with is different. Dog owners are different, and we come we we meet up with lots of people, and I did my best with the situation with the dog. I guess I'll give you just a little backstory. The owner really felt that her dog had some severe anxiety and sadness problems, and this was a really a new thing for the dog owner because she was leaving her dog with a few people over a course of a week, and she was flying all the way to Europe to be with her daughter. And I don't know, since she's really had her dog over the last 3 years, if she's really been out of town like that. So it was a big experience for her. And we met ahead of time, and I got to know the dog and the owner. And but truly, while the weekend was going on, I really found that maybe the anxiety problem and sadness problem of the dog wasn't really a problem maybe the dog had, if you know what I mean. And me and the dog got along really quite well. And she requested I not leave at all, and I stayed 24-hour cycles. I didn't leave, I didn't go home and shower or anything. And um I was instructed to take the dog for walks, and also in the dog bio it says dog does well with other people and stuff. And I had that information to go off. But I really she had one of those compress coffee little makers you make, where you what's it called when you pour the hot water in and you just kind of press a French
French
press.
press.
Yes.
And I'm kind of addicted to coffee, and I knew she had it. She showed it to me, but by the time it was time for me to have coffee on Saturday or Sunday morning, I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere. And my husband was out running errands, and so he just said, "I'll bring you coffee." So I grabbed the dog, and I knew it would be a half hour till I saw my husband, and me and the dog went and had a walk around the neighborhood. And also, another side note, this owner has cameras everywhere. Living room, front, backyard, front yard, everything's on camera. And I knew that, and I accepted that. And right off the bat, when Gordy pulled up in his truck, my husband Gordy, the dog immediately loved Gordy, even before he got out of the truck. No problem whatsoever. No anxiety about a new person or whatever. And so I invited my husband to sit on the little kind of front porch area of the house, you know, with the dog, and we had coffee for a few minutes, all knowing that we were totally being recorded on the doorbell camera. But I didn't really for 1 minute think that I was doing anything wrong. But it was a misjudgment for me because immediately after my husband and I spoke for a few minutes on the front porch, and also the dog just loved Gordy and actually didn't even want to sit by me, wanted to sit by Gordy, wanted Gordy to pet her tummy. And we talked about this ongoing project we're dealing with. And we talked about, just everyday stuff. And we went inside, and the truth is that the dog loved it. The dog loved the walk we were on. The dog loved the little sitting on the front porch. But it was a it was a misstep for me, because immediately I got a call from the dog owner, and she was irate and extremely upset from what she was seeing on the video camera, and just kind of went off on me. And being that she was my client, I apologized. I didn't overly apologize, but I told her I was sorry many times, and that it was a misjudgment on my part. But she really didn't want me to introduce her dog to any other people. And which got me thinking, what would happen if I met a friend on the walk and we stopped and talked or whatever. But anyway, she then went kind of unhinged and said that she was going to check all the video cameras from the whole weekend and to see if my husband was secretly in the house or secretly in the backyard, and what else I was hiding from her, and that I totally didn't understand her dog, and that her dog needs to be introduced to people very gently and slowly because she has a lot of issues, and on and on and on. So I was really surprised with myself that after her call and after her kind of mistreatment of me, and she had chosen me to house sit, and that involves a little bit of trust. But anyway, hi Cecilia. But anyway, we're getting to the celebration part. I was so proud of how I handled myself, and that I allowed her. I guess what it was she was extremely judgmental of my actions. She really, really felt that I was doing something extremely terrible. But I knew that I had the best interest of her dog in mind all weekend, and that it was a mistake on my part, but I was only doing what I thought was best. And I didn't really understand that the front of the house, the common area, like where your mailman might come or the Amazon package, was kind of a sacred space to her. But I was really able to let it go. And so I thought that we should celebrate today. Because one thing we don't really do in the so-called spiritual type community is celebrate ourselves. But I realize, I'm 53 years old, and 2 years ago, I would not maybe have had such an easygoing surrender type reaction to an experience of someone being very, very, very disappointed in me. But so I think we should all think, I have a question. Who here, just so we can see if we're on the same page, who here feels that where they are in their life right now, they deal with experiences and disappointments and just everyday life better than they did maybe 5 years ago? Does everyone feel they've improved?
Yeah.
how about you, Anka? Do you feel that you handle things better than you did maybe 5 years ago?
I handle things better, but I don't feel up. I feel like more down than up. Like in a regression. I don't know
Mhm.
how to say. Um, I I am better. I'm not so selfish now, but in the rest, my life is not so happy.
You feel like maybe it's kind of a limbo for you, kind of a change period?
Yes.
Or or do you really
Uh,
feel like the trajectory of your life is just going, "Whoa," like that? Yeah.
yes, I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Well, so let's celebrate today. Everybody give themselves kudos that they handle things better in the, we are here for this experience. We're wearing these human suits. We're here to play a game and play our part, and but we I don't know, I've personally learned, and I feel like the good topic today is celebrating the fact that we are doing better and that it's okay to celebrate once in a while.
Celebrating because we are in life and we do better, it's a good thing.
Mhm.
But sometimes I feel that I I feel stagnant. I don't know. And no matter how to choose to reflect, I thank to God for the lessons I've learned and for the growth I've experienced.
Do you feel there has been growth? When you say the word growth, do you feel there has been growth or
I feel growth in other directions, like spiritual growth,
Mhm.
more than in other directions.
I
It's
think
what I
that's worth
feel.
celebrating also because the details, the what we do for a living, what our house looks like, how well our hair is cut, how much money in the bank, maybe that's a little bit like this, but if your spiritual
Mm,
side is growing, then I think that's the most important.
thank you. I will consider it.
I think that helps us deal with the ups and go ahead, Mary. I think you might have something to say better than me.
No, I don't think that. I was just going to share a little story that happened to me a couple weeks ago that made me realize that I was quite different than I had been several years ago. And I was in North Idaho, and I was visiting friends I went to high school with. And we were meeting at the resort on Lake Coeur d'Alene for lunch. And going into the resort, there's one of those enormous revolving doors so that people can get in with their luggage. And there was plenty of room in each compartment. So I just slipped in behind the man in front of me, and he turned on me and he said, "Back the F off, dude." And, and years ago, I would have been either frightened or angry, and I just burst out laughing. And it was just like, oh, you, oh, you. And, it was just so funny to me all of a sudden. Like, I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel like he was being mean to me. If I was going to say anything, it would have been back the F off, doctor, um, not dude,
Dude.
Right.
or dudette, maybe. But that was just like
I
of
I
evidence.
liked your reaction.
You should have been like, excuse me, you just misgendered me.
So what did he say? What was his reaction to when you laughed?
Well, do you know that kind of iconic film of Bigfoot? when he's looking over his shoulder like that. That's what he did. And it made me laugh even harder. He didn't say anything. It's like, "Yeah,
Probably not what he was expecting.
no, he didn't expect the old lady to laugh at him. So there you go. So just a
A good
little
one.
sorry, but I think if we keep our eyes open for these things, we're going to see a lot of things that we do differently than we did even last week. We just keep unfolding.
I see it all the time for myself with my husband. All the time. And just little things, you know, where I would have reacted totally different before. Now I will laugh like you, Mary, you know, at certain things instead of getting uptight. And as I'm doing it, I realize, I go, wow, you know, that worked a lot better than what I used to do, you know. So definitely.
Yeah, that positive reinforcement really helps, you know.
Mhm, mhm.
It helps us to remember, yeah, this is a good idea.
Yeah. Well, when it's light, we don't contribute to whatever darkness is being demonstrated by other people's behavior.
Yeah, totally, because Chelsea, I'm sure you realize that that whole thing was really all about her.
Right.
And yeah.
It wasn't the dog with the problem. If I were the dog, I would take to drink, but that's just me.
Hi, Louis Therese. I see you're unmuted. It's a great time to share. Would you like to share?
What I want to say is, feel sorry for that lady. She only needs to go through life, and actually, she makes more harm to herself than ever, because you will never have a generosity in your heart to extend help or anything like that towards her in future, because she had actually bite the helping hand. And it is very sorry. And yeah, that is, you do get some very unexpected backlashes from life where you never ever expected. But that makes you prepared for the next day, and to make you look into yourself and overcome that and be a better person.
Yeah.
Brava.
And she actually has a couple of my business cards for Reconnective Healing. And before she left on the plane, we did do a 2-minute session to play. And
You know,
I will answer the phone if she or texts me, but I just know that I won't do the dog situation again. I won't get in between her and her dog. That's not a good place to be. I was just the 2 days dog sitter, and then there is 5 more days where these dog is actually going to be staying at other people's houses, which I hope they know that they better not introduce anybody new. But
but
I just
let me tell you something. She is in a very troubled state. And the fact that you have done a healing with her, that is definitely going to percolate it through her in time. And when she is calm, she will be actually red-faced for her behavior. I promise you that. But that is a lesson that she had to learn, and you were the master. You were the right person that could help her to learn that lesson. So actually, you are a very important part in her life cycle, but she needs, how can I say, how to address life, how to manage life, and things like that. So but you keep your poise and you keep what you're doing by yourself. That's excellent. But she
Yep.
had a bad day, and she
Yep.
needs, you are the one that is the master. And I promise you, she have taken a lot of points from you by keeping your composure and being kind and being still helpful and not attacking back and things like that. I think it was absolutely a great self-restraining exercise that you have done there.
Well, thank you. And
Kudos,
you
Chelsea.
know, she's a master too. She's a master of her experience. She's a master of her own healing. She just doesn't really know it yet, but I opened the door and walked away, and that's all I can do.
Yes, but it takes time. It takes time. Look, that is one thing. It doesn't happen overnight. This reconnection healing, I promise you, it works in such a quiet, unnoticed way that you cannot believe. It is not an instant thing, but boy, oh boy, it is working in the soul level of a person. Really, I promise you.
I do believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, you must just give it time. You will eventually see a different person, perhaps in 2 or 3 years' time. But yeah, you were a master for her, the stepping stone for that life lesson. And she will reflect upon that definitely, because she was vivid and she really threw her toys out of the cot, if I can say that.
Yeah. It's kind of like just like in Solomon last week when somebody brought up the Course in Miracles lesson, you know, that was
Oh.
there's no cruelty in God and there's no cruelty in me, and then um you know, that it just seems like everything we kind of talked in Solomon, kind of my experience over the weekend was kind of like putting the what I was kind of learning mentally. It was a hands-on situation where I could kind of see, and everything happened for a reason. I I don't regret, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Now it also helps you a lot to learn from that, and for us, because nowadays people lash out to the most closest person or the most unexpected person because they cannot manage their own life. She is actually a troubled soul.
That can we kind of shift away from her though and talk more about us, because I'd like to hear from Cecilia. I can't really talk much because I've got banging going on outside my window.
Okay.
But I'm thinking of Cecilia or Renee, if you guys have anything that relates to you guys around this.
Yeah, I do. I do. Someone once shared something with me, which I always keep in mind, and that is when your expectations of another person exceed their ability to reach or satisfy them, you will always be disappointed. So that means that now I had an experience recently with my home and renovations and contractors, and I felt that the people that were chosen were given an opportunity, and I felt that they didn't really measure up. Now, I had hired the same person a number of years back, and I was quite happy with the outcome. But somehow this time, there was not a whole lot of consideration extended to myself and the person paying. And I took exception to that, and I thought, well, wait a minute here. We are the client. We are supporting your business. It is a gift to you that we have chosen you to come and do some work. If you do not want to do the work, or you don't think that the reasons why I am upset are not valid or perhaps should be taken into account, and you can just handle tossing away a fairly, significant contract, then I wish you all the best. But I didn't feel I needed to explain myself. I was disappointed that didn't work out differently, but 3 weeks down the road, I found a much better option, one who was very professional, who treated me and is treating me very respectfully. And that's what I expect.
It also reminds me of another aspect of the weekend, and with the communication with this dog owner, the one thing she kept repeating from the first moment where I met her and we got acquainted, and then when I came and took over care, and then some phone conversations, and then of course all the way through to where she was very, very upset with me, she kept repeating about how much I charge and how it was, she kept saying, for the price you charge, for the price you charge, I would have expected better. And from beginning to end, she really just had a big emphasis on that I was just overpriced. And I kind of took a mental note of that I wasn't really being valued for what I was offering, and that probably wouldn't, have a second go around, because just when you're not feeling valued for what you do, yeah, it's not an equal exchange. So, and there's other people she can charge that were cheaper, and maybe she should have done that. I don't know. But so how do we all feel? Was this a great conversation? Does anyone else want to add anything before we wrap it up?
Well, if I'm looking at the time, I can say one little thing. I mean, add to people's experiences. And just recently, the other day, and really it was something that I realized as I monitored the situation, that I was learning something at the time, and also I would have probably been a little different in another time. Years past, I went to see a nurse practitioner, and she came in, and she was very brusque, right off the bat, and that just kind of put me off. And I said, she goes, we're really busy, blah, blah, blah. And I've had a lot of issues with the place. And I mentioned that, and she goes, well, you can always leave. You can go to another place, and it was just kind of like, wow. I went, yeah, I know it's not that easy, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna hear her out, what she's going to tell me, why I'm here, and just kind of, and I did that. And it was good. I first I was like, oh, I don't like her, and then I decided, give her a chance. I know they're really busy here. They're struggling, blah, 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 blah. And, that was my experience. But I learned that, you don't always know what's going on with the other person. And so, and then she softened up, because I didn't react the way I might have, and another time,
Yeah.
That's my little story.
I'm glad you shared that, Julie. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. And we'll be posting this on our Facebook. We'll be posting the link on our Facebook pages, and then you can always go find us on YouTube and like and subscribe and all that. And we'll see you next week with a new topic. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And blessings to each of everyone. Bye bye.